I would like to call this meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Ortonville Village Council. It is April 24th? 27th, and it is 7 o'clock. The meeting will now begin. It's been called to order. Could we all rise? And I'd like to ask Leanne Claxton if she would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Brooks?
Here.
Green?
Here.
Hayden?
Here.
Faulkner?
Here.
Mold?
Here.
Quisenberry?
Here. Okay, that takes care of the roll call. Next is the approval agenda. It looks rather lengthy, however, it seems to take shape. Is there any changes or anybody want to approve the agenda?
I would like to add after B and then shove everything down as a new C appointment to Personnel Committee.
New, under new business?
Under new business, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Appointment to Personnel Committee.
Or recommendation. of
Yeah,
it.
sure.
Which item is that?
After B. on business.
Yeah, it's going to take over C. Well, it's going to be B and a half.
Yeah.
And I would like to add the clerk position, because we have someone in there, their 90 days will be up, and we need to look at what we're going to do.
Still on our personnel report.
Under.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay.
That's okay.
I mean, that's fine. Do we need to add it, or is it going to be in the report?
It can be in the report.
Yeah, that's
Okay. That'll work.
what is that?
Okay. And yours was the appointment to
Personnel.
Personnel. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda. Whoops.
We'll hang tight.
So you want to add about 90-day review?
90-day review.
Okay. And that would be under new business.
Right, I think it's April 30th that it's up.
Okay. And one other, do we have anything in the new business about appointing a third person to the personnel committee?
That's
She
what I
just
said.
added
Oh,
She
that.
just added.
And that was where, B1?
B, after B, B1.
Yeah.
B1, okay, never mind. My brain is fried.
I have one too, also, if possible. Can we move up the bookkeeper recommendation, just so she's not,
Oh,
our lovely lady's not sitting here for
Uh,
a decade or
The
whatever?
only trouble we're going to run into is when all these B's and C's change, is it going to screw up our minutes? Because I jokingly said we can make that B and a half, but now we'll be on a C and a half.
We have
So-
a good see, then she just shifts everything down, J's still gonna be J, and I would move up.
Okay, we'll call them out in that order. If I get the letter wrong, somebody please correct me.
So where are we gonna move that one to, actually?
Oh,
you want that to be B1 and then we'll have.
Or do you wanna have that moved up to, be done after items from trustees, before anything speaking?
can we do that one?
I can stay for a while, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, never mind, she can stay for a while.
Bennett?
Well, then let's move that up to.
Let's move it the first part of new business.
Okay.
please.
Yeah, move it up into A.
To A.
of new business. So
We'll keep
that
you
would be
on track
fine.
there.
Okay.
Add
Okay,
arrows, we're
keeper
good.
recommendation is gonna be A. Okay. All right.
Those in favor of the agenda say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? The agenda is all set. Next is approval of council minutes in our packet. We have a village meeting that was held on March the 23rd. We also have one that was held on April the 13th. Those minutes are in the packet. I actually received those a couple of weeks ago because they were necessary for some banking transactions. So I had a copy of those and I've gone over them, and I thought they were accurate to my liking. And if anybody has any questions about them, we can answer them now.
My only question is, I thought we approve the March 23rd at our April 13th meeting, but maybe I was wrong.
I thought I remembered seeing that.
But we can approve them twice.
I would assume they're not different than the other ones.
No.
They're just, it's not another
Well, we
set.
double approve it. I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of the March
23rd?
23rd meeting as presented.
Support?
Moved and supported. Those in approval, or is there further discussion on those minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting those, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, those minutes are now accepted. It leads us to item B, which is from a April 13th meeting.
I make a motion to accept the special meeting minutes from April 14th, 2026.
Support?
Okay, I too have had an opportunity to review those and thought they looked accurate. There's been a motion of support. Is there any further discussion on those minutes? And hearing none, those in favor of accepting those, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The next item, item 6, is a very, very simple one. This is just acceptance items, and this is where I read them off, and I'm letting everyone in the audience and council member knows that those are just items that are accepted by the village. We don't need to vote on them. They just become part of the village records. And so items that we get from correspondence from different people and complaints and things of that nature, we just call them acceptance items because they don't require a vote. There's the Planning Commission minutes of January 5th. There's the Downtown Development Authority minutes from January 12th. There's the Downtown Development Authority minutes from February 23rd and the Downtown Development Authority minutes from March 16th, and that downtown development has been active. There's 4 sets of minutes in here all from downtown, but they are active and they just seem to be doing a bang-up job. And then the last item is a letter from residents. I received a letter, it was an email addressed just to me, and I wanted to make sure that everybody at least had a copy of it. Somebody, I think, lives nearby on Church Street, that's it, yeah. But I just wanted everybody to have a chance to read it because there's some interesting things that are pointed out that maybe we can make corrections on, or maybe not, I don't know. But I just like it for everybody to be able to see what comes through the office. And they can also come via email to the board members, but sometimes we try not to email out too many things because of the Open Meeting Act and things of that nature. So those are the accepted items, and that was the letter from the residents. Next is item 7, it's public comments on the public comments for this council. And if there's anybody who came here today that would like to speak to the village council, now would be a good time to raise a hand. Well, we'll go here first. And please state your name and give it.
Good evening, Village Council. My name is Lori Greco. I live at 250 Cedar Street right here in the village. So there has been a lot written up recently about the council and the situations, which brought to my attention some things that I have questions on. So I'm not looking to throw anybody under the bus. I just have questions, and if you can answer them, that would be great.
Well,
okay?
I just want to interrupt. Sometimes we can answer them instantly, other times we
Well,
have to look into them and
Given the
take the right
time,
answer.
given the time I have, I don't expect you will have all the answers, but I need to bring them to the present.
Please do.
Okay. So in the first writing we read a couple weeks ago when the paper put out about the budget and the problems with the budget. And my first question is how often do you review in detail the budget? Okay. In the most recent newspaper article, Mr. Hayden had commented that there were discrepancies in the financial reporting from the village manager. So what are your checks and balances procedures in place to ensure accuracy? And I know that when the treasurer was fired, that you appointed Mr. Ryan to assume the responsibilities. And my question there is, did you think that he would be able to handle all the village manager responsibilities and the treasurer responsibilities? Which brings us round to the discrepancies in the reporting. And to me, that looks like it's a conflict of interest, that head of department should not have been placing in there to do that as well. My other question is why did you fire the treasurer? And how long did Mr. Ryan receive additional unapproved compensation before it was discovered? But the thing that really caught my attention was the most recent article, and Ms. Mold had mentioned in the end of the article that aside from you being behind in some other bills, consultation, and there are back payroll taxes. And so my question is how far back are we talking and how much money are we talking? Because when we look at payroll taxes, that opens a whole nother can of worms. The IRS frowns on that, and if we pay bills, if we pay anything, we pay our payroll taxes before the other bills get paid, and this has created, unfortunately, the IRS views this that heads of departments, whether it's elected or employers, may, and I use the term may, be held personally liable for back payroll taxes, and that becomes a concern. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I believe it's in the IRS publication 963. So those are my questions for you. And that's all I have to say, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Lori.
Here's a hand. You're next. No, go ahead, Beth.
No, you go.
Yep.
You're Beth.
Okay, I don't really want to go, but I'll.
My name is Beth Voorhees, and I was your village treasurer for the last 14 years. I've been watching the videos, and I specifically saw the one where you fired the manager, and I just want to clear my name and say that the books, and actually it was the day that he got hired, I was working with the auditors, and we had the audit done. And we had it done like in one day, maybe two. We've always had a good audit. The books were in great shape. I never took out any loans to pay bills. We always paid our bills. It just saddens me how he could get rid of so much money in so little time, and nobody even knew. I don't even know what more to say, but I just wanted to clear my name that all the things he said, that the books were so screwed up, the program was screwed up. If it is, it's his doing. I didn't do any of that. And to answer your question, why I was fired, I have no idea. And I wasn't even given a reason. I didn't get a council meeting. I didn't get a 60-day probation. I've had one, I don't know what you call it, a black mark on my record, and that was with Dale Stewart, who was a village manager. Other than that, I had nothing in my file. So I guess that's all I got to say.
Thank you very much, Beth. And if it matters to you, and I hope it does, Bob Hoxwell thinks you're just wonderful.
Well, I think he is.
I do too. So do we. So do we. Yes.
I'm Allison Reese. I live at 109 Mill Street, Ortonville. I don't want to be up here. I hate talking in public, so bear with me. What I would like to say is, due to everything going on, I've been going through everything. I've my hands in everything at this point, is the council. You get paid every time you have a meeting. Every time you do something is what it sounds like. And we have no monies. So, my question to you is, are you going to not take monies during this time until we can get this resolved and we're in the green?
Well, we're in the green, but not by much, and we've got some.
We're not in the green.
Okay, but we have some straightening around to do with the finances, and that will definitely come up.
The finances right now currently are paying paid peoples, like the DPW, the peoples in the office of the village. You guys are secondary and that concern. So my question is to you, are you willing to not get paid or take monies until this is in the green?
Yeah, I can answer you real quick. We did, a few years ago, make it optional where council members had the choice whether or not to be paid for council meetings and committee meetings. Some of us choose to be paid for all the committee meetings, and just so you know, it's not everything we do. If it's a committee meeting, there has to be official committee meeting minutes to get paid. But some of us have chosen to take compensation for some of those. Some take for all, I think. Some take for none of them. So there are people who aren't taking any money already on the council. And I do know it takes a lot of time, so I generally have taken some payments, but not all the ones that I'm due, because I feel I'm entitled to some compensation, but I feel it should be a balance. And at this point forward, I'm not planning on taking any compensation for any meetings until such time as we do get things straightened out and cleared up.
My only comment on that is I looked at the budget, and it seems like the amount of money budgeted and the amount of money that is actually taken is much lower than what's budgeted. So I would say that there are more than one council member not taking money for every meeting, and in general. So I don't think, I don't think that's something that I don't think we take that lightly.
Okay.
Thank you, Allison. Yes. Nice pledge, by the way.
Well, thank you. You caught me off guard. Would you mind taking one of those and passing it around? For the record, Leanne Claxton. I am the president-elect of the Ortonville DDA. And I just wanted to present you guys with some of the things that we've been working on. We've been trying to work on collaboration. We've started some conversations with Ms. Green and Ms. Brooks as far as some of the things that are going on through the DDA. Trying to lighten it up a little bit here. So what this is a little packet of our projects, our current projects, and how we came about to getting these projects. So it starts with our transformation strategies, which is on your first page. I'm not going to go through all the projects or all the events. Don't worry. I just wanted to explain to you how we get there. So you guys had the opportunity to participate in our selection of transformation strategies, which occurred January of 2024 and was adopted in April. And essentially the two are placemaking in green space and business activation and development. So everything that we do as an organization, we look back and we say, how does this activity support one or both of these strategies? Just so that you kind of know where we come from. This is the strategies are laid out by the Main Street America organization, and you can select which ones are most relevant to your community. So that's what we did. So in addition to that, I want to direct you to the last page, which is our downtown park and community input survey that we sent out online. It's just an example of the many, many surveys that we do every year and after every activity and before most activities to see what the community wants to do. So that is the other thing that drives our input, is what the community wants. So just so that you guys have some idea, and if you take a look at these, the different projects and things that we're working on, and you would like to participate in them, we more than welcome that collaboration. We are really excited to strengthen that bond, because all these things are for you. Everything that we do is for you and for the community, and we want you guys to feel like this is you're a part of whatever it is that we're doing. So just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you so much. And it's apparent that the DDA is pretty darn efficient when it comes to that type of record keeping and that type of making the community aware. And I've been a part of that, so I see it firsthand. It's nice that everybody else can hear it as well.
Thank you. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to contact me or get a hold of Matt if you want to be a part of any of it. So, thank you.
Okay, take a look around. Hey, Mr. Dan Esman.
Good evening, Dan Eschman, previous council trustee of 12 years. I'd like to start off by first recognizing Beth for her to come up here with uninvited. I think that it takes a lot of courage to come in and defend herself. There were a lot of mudslinging going on. Trust me, years ago, I've had mudslinging come at me, all right, for no reason. A simple phone call to Beth, you could see that she's willing to help. To access the programs that people can't access here to do their job, who reached out to Beth to say, Beth, we're having trouble getting into the program? Has anybody reached out to Beth to do that?
It's a whole new system. It's not the system she was working under.
Beth has access to that before she left.
Well, that's not debatable.
Okay, that's all right. That's just my comment. Okay, to the budget. I commend Trustee Brooks to say that you made a mistake in the budget, but has there been a deep dive as to what mistake that was, how we're going to prevent it from happening again, and then move on? Right now, there is no accountability, lack of leadership on reviewing the budget. Were there incorrect amounts? How come it wasn't recognized that there were incorrect amounts? The bottom line is there needs to be some detailed oversight in the spending of this village. And it starts from the top.
Thank you.
My recommendation on the spending is all unnecessary spending should be cut until you find out what the heck happened to our money. Where'd it go?
Well, it's going to come up in our meeting, so that's...
All right, I'm here just to talk about what's on my mind, all right?
We intend to address that today.
Okay, so not too long ago, it's shifting gears, there was I would say a gathering of roughly 200 village residents on the village petition to dissolve our village. Really, hand it over to Brandon Township. Brandon Township is looking at every resident to raise their taxes in any which way they can. People are up in arms over the amount of taxes that they're being levied, all right? So do we want to hand our village over to the Brandon Township so they can dictate what they do to our village? Heck no. So I'd like to know what the heck's going on with that, all right?
Okay.
Hiring people. I commend council to bring on a treasurer. I think he's going to do great things to find out what the heck happened, where the money's at. I hope it's asleep somewhere and somebody just didn't recognize what bucket the money's in. But God forbid we overspent. All right, but that's going to all come out. It's going to be public knowledge. All right, but you approved that. All right. Was there any approval on bringing anybody interim for the village manager position?
Well, that's on the agenda tonight too, Dan.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's all I have to say right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Ooh, any other hands? Tough act to follow there, Dan. Nobody wants to get up now. That's okay. Are there any other comments, though, before I move on to the other parts of the agenda? And there aren't any. It brings us up to items from trustees. Josh, let me start with Kay.
I also attended the DDA special, I call it the DDA special meeting, Leanna. we're going through a lot of these things, and they really do a lot for our community. I've been very impressed. And also, because of everything, I'm in the office many days, most days at some point or another, trying to, help in the figuring out of what transpired and where do we go from here and how do we move forward. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. I did want to thank a whole lot of people. I wanted to thank Thomas, our clerk, who he's 2 months into working for us, so, most people would have packed their bags and left. He has not. He has dug in, and he's really working hard and helping us work through all of this. Pete Burkett has also stepped up and trying to help us in any way that he can. Of course, Scott had volunteered last time, and we could not do this without everybody's help, and we appreciate it. Mary, the one who cleans up things for us, she has been just so helpful in trying to run the desk and saving the clerk from having to get up every time so that he can continue on with what he needs to do. And frankly, for all the trustees, we know we screwed up. We know we did. He led us down a path and we followed. But that being said, every one of us have been working night and day trying to figure this out and get back on course. We don't want it to go to the village or to the township. We don't want it to go anywhere. So we're doing our due diligence and trying to figure out what we need to do next, and we keep taking those steps. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks. Linda?
Yeah, I also attended some of the DDA meetings, and thank you for speaking so I don't have to say as much, Leanne, and giving us a packet, because I did want the council to be aware of all the things that's going on with the DDA. One extra thing, I was pleasantly surprised to see that the recent grant that they had received for engineering out at the old mill to correct the sidewalk issue down there. They had people out last week Friday and already talking about it and getting that moving forward. And I was able to attend that, and I just think that's wonderful. I know the engineering is the first step and the actual physical activity will happen later, but I just thought it was wonderful. Again, continuation of moving forward on Heritage Park, which has been sitting dormant for way too long. I also attend the Historical Society meetings. They're doing some wonderful things there as well. One of the things they did is hosted an event where other Historical Society groups came in and got to visit our old mill, and I guess it was very favorable, and it's wonderful to see us getting recognition out there. You already brought the survey up, so. Yeah, and I also agree with Kay that there's a lot of people to thank. Also the DDA, I brought a request to the DDA. When I came to the meeting, the first thing they said was, whatever you need from the DDA to help you get through this, we're here for you. So I feel like it was a rough meeting to have all this stuff happen, but our eyes have been opened, and we've had so many good people stepping up and supporting, and I feel like we're on the right track to get this all straightened out, and my shoulders feel a lot lighter, even though we've been very, very busy.
Thank you. Larry?
Okay. First of all, I also would like to state that, yes, you're absolutely right. We were not on the ball when it came to reviewing the expenditures and stuff. Part of that, I believe, is because for those who've been on council, we only meet once or twice a month. And so we have to rely a lot on the information we get in our packets. And our village manager, we have a certain amount of trust we have to put in the village manager that they're giving us correct and accurate information. And unfortunately, I feel that there was months when we didn't get the right reporting or any reporting because of claims about problems with the software, claims about problems generating reports or inaccuracies in them. And then the reports that we did get did not indicate things were as bad as we are finding out that they are. And so I feel that a lot of it was just we weren't getting all the information, and we really should have pushed harder and pressed harder to get validation, verification back on those. I feel that we put too much trust in that the village manager was trying to do his job appropriately, and I feel maybe that trust was misplaced, and for that I apologize. Moving on to how we move forward from there, I feel that we did the right thing by letting that village manager go, because obviously he was not doing an adequate job of managing things, especially with budgeting. I feel that we are in the process of trying to turn things around, bringing the right people in. We have a clerk who's doing a great job for us right now. On Personnel Committee, we've been doing a lot of interviews for the position of the bookkeeper, because our treasurer, Scott, has informed us that's a critical need for us. So we have some options we'll be discussing about later on, meeting on one of the agenda items about what we can do for that. And we actually have one potential candidate tonight who's with us in the audience who will have an opportunity to introduce herself to council too. So hopefully we can start moving forward on the bookkeeper position. Village manager, we've been reviewing a lot of resumes that we received, and we also have our somebody who has volunteered to step in and help fill in an interim basis, and that's also on our agenda tonight, is about our interim village manager while we continue the process of reviewing. And he also has put in his name as one of our candidates. So we are going to be actively reviewing and scheduling interviews for the village manager position as well. And then another topic that we actually discussed with him earlier today was that we will need to have a meeting with him and review and discuss our clerk who's reaching his 90 days. That's also going to be a topic here, and we'll discuss that more in detail too. But we have a lot of things. That's mostly what we've been doing, is we've been scrambling, trying to cover the situation in the village so we can maintain operations and try to find the right people to bring in so we can turn things around and get back on track to where we should be. And that's pretty much what we've been doing since the last council meeting, or at least for my case.
Thanks, Ashley. I'm glad Larry went over all that for personnel. IT side, our current website, Company Revise, has basically ghosted me and Thomas every time we email them to try to get help or find out any info on our account. They respond to us and then they don't respond back to us. So I took it to, I went to 2 other people to try to see if we can get a quote for changing our website host. One is Shoemaker Group, who does Brandon Township's website, and they were awesome. He's supposed to get back with me for a quote. And Civic Plus, also getting back for a quote. They did a great whole Zoom meeting and went over everything, and it was pretty great. Way better than our current situation, who doesn't seem to respond to us. So that's in progress. And we also found out for ADA compliance, we don't have to, because we're so small, we don't have to be ADA compliant until 2028 now. So we have some time, but we're close to being good. We just have our document center that's not ADA compliant so far, so that just needs to be figured out.
Blind and deaf.
Huh?
Blind and deaf people.
Yeah, it's the whole, you click on the thing and it can read the whole system and make it bigger and all that. Sue, prior to leaving, figured out the cybersecurity grant with Matt. She has it up there. I haven't gotten a chance to really look at it yet, but I believe it's a match thing, so I'm assuming that it's probably on the back burner for right now. And Matt did get quotes for new servers, so I'm gonna go look at that at some point. And that's all I got for that one right now.
Yeah, it's a lot. I guess for the last 2 weeks, I've been kind of doing the video stuff and kind of managing that, getting that out in a timely order for everybody, and kind of putting some good protocols into that so that as soon as we wrap here, within 48 hours, 24 hours, it's out online and then given to you to go onto the website. So that's kind of been my last 2 weeks is speed lining that.
Good to hear. And just a couple words from me. I want to mention 3 names, 3 people: Thomas, Scott, and Pete. Thomas is the village clerk. I've only known him for the 90 days he's been here, and he's a knockout. He has called me or emailed me just about every single day, and I have not heard from our village manager. I've heard from Thomas more in the past 90 days than I did from the village manager in 10 months. And it wasn't from stopping in there, it was just information was being withheld. I found letters in the office that were addressed to me from back in October, November, December that never got forwarded. Emails weren't sent, phone calls weren't made, and these are the things, the little things, and there weren't just one, there was a whole bunch of little things that just added up and added up and added up, and it was like this becomes intolerable, just totally intolerable. Now, not everything he did was wrong. He was able to manipulate the office of village manager to his advantage, and I believe that's what it was, to his advantage. Back to Thomas, who has called me often. I'm going to go to Scott now, who I just only met recently, and what a fresh air that is to hear somebody who A, wants to help, and B, has the ability to. And I've been in the office 3 times this week, and you're there all 3 times. So I just find it so impressive that you are taking the reins in that regard. Last is Pete. I have known Pete for about 40 years. We spent 25 years together on the Sheriff's Department. We've done many projects together. He has been in this community about as long as I have. And Pete has stepped up as well. The day the village manager got fired, Pete's on board. He's been on board because we hired him as an ordinance officer a few months back, and he goes around and issues ordinance violations. But as soon as as soon as the village manager was terminated, it was the next day that he was in there saying, how can I answer phones? How can I do this? How can I write, how can I pick up all the slack from a village manager who's here one day and gone the next is going to leave some voids. And Pete's doing a fabulous job of that. So is Scott, and so is Thomas. So I just want to shout out for those 3 people who are in that office every day doing the things that should have been getting done all along. And that's my 2 cents on those 3 guys. If you want now. Yeah.
I forgot one of the main things that I was supposed to talk about tonight. I received a text from the person who came in to help Matt and Sue implement the BSNA system. And she had read the article in our paper. She lives in our area. And anyway, she sent me a letter. And I'm not going to read it, but she's here tonight, and I would love if she would come up and just give us a little more background information on what her experience was and how it was when she left after she had implemented it. If you would, Susan.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for the opportunity. When I read the article in the paper, I just wanted to reach out because everything felt a little strange about the very short time that I was trying to help here. I have over 30 years in government finance as my career. And I don't remember the dates exactly. I'm going to say in November of 2024, Matt reached out to me to ask if I would be interested in assisting. My immediate initial response was no. I do have a full-time job. I am the finance director for a municipality in the area. He explained to me that the prior treasurer had left, that nothing had really been done or maintained, and that he wanted to get things caught up. So I ended up agreeing that I would come in and get items recorded in the general ledger, get bank reconciliations done, because if your bank reconciliation's done, that's 90% of your fight. And try to help train someone else. And I made it clear to him it would be someone else. He had said to me maybe I could stay on. I made it clear that was not what was going to happen, but I would try to help train someone else. I came in the first time, I believe it was Veterans Day. I know it was one of those holidays that I get off that a lot of people don't. So I think it was probably Veterans Day. I came in, I had to record the transactions based on what happened in the bank statements and some paperwork that he had accumulated. I had everything recorded. I had all of the bank accounts balanced. There were some things that weren't done, and Matt had very detailed notes on what he needed to do to get them fixed. That was probably done by the end of November. I know for a fact, while I was here, I said to him one night, and that was the other thing, other than the one day I was able to come in, I was only coming here in the evening because, again, I was working my full-time job all day. So one night, I remember asking him if he had filed the F-65, the qualifying statement, all those things we have to file with the state of Michigan, and they weren't. So it was prior to Christmas. I know that I had all of the financials, all of the bank reconciliations, everything caught up, and I had prepared all the other documents that he needed to file because they were all due for you by December 31st. At that time, Matt had hired Sue and another consultant that was going to help train Sue. So I had really stepped back. I had no more deliverables, and I said to Matt, call me if you need me. I'm kind of out of the situation. They did contact me, it was either January or February. Again, it was one of those holidays, so it was either Martin Luther King Day or President's Day that I had off work, that I came in and tried to help Sue figure out how she needed to do some things. At that time, I could see that they were trying to make changes. I did caution them that if you make changes in BSNA, you have to know the whole story and every place something is going to impact. I don't know. I had nothing to do with any changes that they did make. So I don't know where that all ended. But there were several things. There weren't, I believe we cleaned up all of the bank reconciliations, meaning if I had left things open saying this deposit needs something done with it, we need to move money between the road bank account and the general bank account. Like, I had left detailed notes on the bank reconciliation of what those needed to be, and I believe we cleared up most of them that day I was in. So I don't know what happened after that. I did have an opportunity to listen to the board meeting where your auditor was here, and he commented that a lot of things were listed as miscellaneous on a bank reconciliation. After 30 years of doing this, like, I would not allow my staff to write the word miscellaneous. So I did not put miscellaneous. So I just wanted to make sure the board knew that from my involvement, it was very limited and probably not as fruitful as I would have hoped it would be. I don't know who the consultant was that came in after me. I apologize, I don't remember what her name was, but I don't think she had a lot of governmental fund accounting background, which would have made stepping in a little more difficult. Probably didn't know BSNA, which would have made things difficult. So BSNA was working. When I was here, it worked. Were there things about it that I would say were clunky? Yes. That said, I'm a finance director and I have 7 staff members under me just in the finance department. So we can run a lot smoother than a municipality that's trying to keep proper internal controls and separation of duties with the staffing you have. So maybe some of those things needed to be clunky in order to get appropriate sign-offs and everything for internal control purposes. But it definitely worked.
Understandable, and thank you.
Yep. If I could do anything to assist, I'm happy to help.
And that is equally as important.
Have a good day.
Thanks.
Thanks. Okay, gets us past trustee items and brings us to unfinished business. We're going to blow by this one. It's the 2027 budget. I mean, I guess we don't have to blow by it, but we're trying to, they're great if you're applying them. But these numbers don't line up, and Larry's pointed it out several times over, that numbers that are on one page and you go to carry it over and it's not even the same number. So with those discrepancies that we're already aware of, it would be tough to look at this budget and assume, or make any assumptions on it. I mean, you basically can make no assumptions on it. It is almost like we might as well start with a fresh virgin budget, because this taking bad numbers off of bad numbers from bad numbers isn't going to really benefit us a bit. At least that's my opinion. Now, we do have to have a budget, and by law, we have to have one submitted by the end of June to take effect. July 1st, because that's our fiscal year. So this is putting us on a really big time crunch. Typically, we like to have a workshop in April, and then in May we sit down and iron out some final numbers, and then we approve it in June, and it's done well before our late June meeting. So that's the typical process for budgets. Also, when it comes to budgets, I think somebody asked how many there are, and there's at least 3, because there's an original proposed budget, there's an amended budget, and then there's a final budget. And so those are all 3 different, and they don't really change much other than, as Sue mentioned, money might go from one account to another, but it's easy to recognize. Okay, this account had a shortfall, but this one had a surplus. So, and those are easy things. But they're things that should be brought to the board in a budget and explained in that fashion, and we approve them, and we would. But when those don't come our way, and we're just left with what the pages of paperwork that he gives, that, believe it or not, they do make some sense from time to time, just not very good sense all the time. And when you're the village manager, it better make sense all of the time, especially if you're going to count on a vote from us. That being said, there's many things never even came to a vote. There's paperwork that we find in that office of bills and expenses and budget items that no one's ever seen. And as I mentioned, I saw things in there with my name on it that, I don't know, he must have maybe he's got a council president file where he hides everything. But that's what it seems like to me. And that's what brought me to, the point, enough is enough is enough. And then the push became with the checks and balances and being there every day and watching all this kind of stuff. And I hate to use smoke and mirrors, but that's really how that all went down. And I just want to say for our 27 budget, we are probably going to have to spend a good part of May and maybe even the first couple of weeks in June getting a budget together that we can approve at our June meeting. But I don't think we're ready to submit anything at this point, nor are we ready to just assume whatever's on our sheets are even accurate, because I don't believe it. Okay, and I'm going to ask if somebody will make a motion to table the 27 budget.
Make a motion to table the 27 budget.
I would like to request that we have a workshop relatively soon to, and
Just
I
for
know,
the
I
budget.
do agree
We
that
can
this
and
is
will.
crazy, but we've really got to go through these figures.
Okay.
And
I was thinking the same thing. Maybe we take
where it's just,
our second Monday in May as a workshop.
yeah,
That is next week.
Well,
I mean,
that's
yeah,
in 2 weeks.
May is
Yeah.
next week, yeah.
I'm saying
in
that'd
2
be in
weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
What is that date, May?
we just don't know.
It's
The
the
thing
11th,
is,
so we go to the 11th.
we just don't know what all's gonna come up between now and 2 weeks.
We gotta
that
start
have to
working on
add
something.
down.
I'll have some answers for you in a minute.
Well, my feeling is when it comes to that, the main point to be able to plan for the next fiscal year's budget is to have a reasonable estimate of where our fund balance is going to be at the end of this year. And I think that I'm hoping that in the next 2 weeks, if we can get the bookkeeping situation addressed, we have our treasurer already working on things, we might be in a position to at least say, okay, it looks like this is where our balance is going to be at the end of the year, and then we use that as the starting balance. And then we can play with the proposed budgets and try to work out where we can make it a reasonable budget. I already, as mentioned at the previous meeting, I already suggested ways we need to scale back on significantly on spending in certain areas, particularly the paving project, in order to build our fund balance.
I would
And
go as
think we
far
can
as
do
to
that.
say we need to pare back on everything at this point.
Yes.
I agree, and
But
that's,
that's the biggest chunk that we have out
Yes.
there that we can easily pare
But
back.
true enough, now there's a motion and support that I'm going to have a roll call vote on, and that's just to table this. But yeah, the discussion's going to continue. We know that. And
Well, that was just a suggestion that if we have enough numbers ready, maybe our meeting on the second Monday in May might.
as long as that's an if, we just won't vote on it. But what we will do is vote on tabling this, and if I could have a roll call.
Brooks,
yes.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Faulkner,
Yes.
Mold,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes. The budget is now on hold until some of the items Larry had mentioned get themselves sorted out. These is up to new business, and this is where I might get a little bit rocky, but I'll start off with A, posting of vacant planning commission positions. Thomas McCarthy.
Push the bookkeeper. Remove the bookkeeper.
Bookkeeper recommendation.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I see. Okay, but
Which one do we have?
I thought it was A.
That's what I thought. Okay, that's what I.
The book, we changed it to
Yeah, bookkeeper recommendation.
You got it, you forgot that.
I got the arrow. Okay, let's go to A is bookkeeper recommendation, and who is going to run with this one?
Okay, I guess I will. After a few interviews that we had for bookkeeper, we landed on a couple. However, Carrie is here today, and her resume was very promising, and her interview was very promising. Curious if you wanted to introduce yourself and just say a little bit about yourself and your background.
Hello, my name is Carrie Mumper. I don't live in the township. I actually live in Howley, and I have been a bookkeeper for a good 30 years. I haven't been a finance manager. I haven't worked in government, so this I will have to learn, but I'm always willing to learn whatever I have to get my job done. I'm detailed, I'm organized, and I think I could really help. Help you see what you have to do with numbers. I've been at companies that have been upside down, and I have helped them get back on track, either collecting money, collections, whatever we had to do, we worked at that. So I'm a very detailed bookkeeper. I enjoy it, numbers are my thing, and I think possibly I could be a good fit, but that's all up to you.
Do you have BSNA experience?
No, I do
You
not.
None of our applicants did.
Carrie, thank you so much for introducing
Yes,
yourself.
thank you.
Sure, thank you.
And
Thank you for coming out, Carrie.
after passed out your resume to everybody when we started our meeting. So we'll take a few minutes and when we get a chance and go over it and see where everything falls. But once again, thank you very much and appreciate your talent in accounting.
I will
Or
say
bookkeeping.
none of our applicants had BSNA experience. We weren't able to find one that did, so we
Okay, great.
with experience and
Yeah, if I could also say that, because I know you said time is of the essence trying to get somebody in this position. There's two things we could do tonight, and there's a whole nother topic too that I did touch on, but I think we also have an option too. We had two candidates we'd interviewed, and Carrie is here tonight. The other candidate, I guess, decided that this might not be a good fit for her, so she declined to be here tonight. We have the option to make a decision whether we want to hire somebody tonight, or we can continue to interview more people and get more candidates. I think that would be one decision the council should formally make, is do we continue to review, and at what point do we want to hire somebody, or how do we want to handle the process of hiring somebody if and when we find a candidate, or do we wait until another 2 weeks till our next meeting?
It's a green lease, because I know this stuck up kind of fast. I think at the very least, Pete should be able to interview the people, because he's the one that's gonna have to be working with these people every day, whether it's the clerk
Yeah.
or the accountant. So I think that Pete should have an option to be able to sit down with somebody before you hire them.
Yeah, and we know Pete has expressed it, and I think we will want to include him in any additional interviews we do from this point forward, for sure. But that's one option, is do we try to get somebody, consider Carrie tonight, or do we want to wait and do more people? Second topic, just to bring this up, and I think this is also something that could help address the immediate need for bookkeeping, is that we did hear from a contract company that can provide trained people who, and they actually mentioned that they do have people who know the BSNA software, and they can contract in. It's going to be a more expensive hourly rate, but then we can bring somebody in. It'll take them, like, what did they say, a couple of days?
She said a day or two.
Yeah, it would take them a day or two to get the right person sorted out and arranged to be here, but we can contract somebody in the interim for, 2, 3, 4, whatever, a few weeks, and bring that person in to get the bookkeeping aspect done while we continue to interview bookkeepers. And if we can't bring somebody in with BSNA experience, I could see that we might even have an opportunity to have an overlap where we bring those trained people who know the software in for some hours to help bring the new person up to speed on it, something like that. So that's an option, I think, that we also wanted to share with council, that we have the option to use a contract company and bring in somebody who does have experience with BSNA to get the immediate bookkeeping needs filled while we continue to look through the bookkeeper resumes and do some more interviews. If that's an option council would want to consider.
Well, I know that Ashley has been doing yeoman's work putting together these applications and these job postings and things of that nature.
Yeah, Ashley's been phenomenal.
Yeah, but my only drawback at the moment is, we did get this at today's meeting, and she's under the gun, and she doesn't always have as much time as she would like, nor do we. But
Yeah.
I would hate to hire someone based on a resume I haven't even seen yet. That's all. So I think we might need a week or maybe two. And it can also be a phone call if need be, or if the board wants to do something the next time we get together, we can. So that's one of our options. But I wouldn't vote to hire anybody this minute without a chance to read it over.
That's really cool. What about the option for bringing a contractor?
What do you mean it would cost a lot more money?
What did they say, about $50 an hour?
It's roughly $52 an hour. That covers their hourly wage plus the service wage. It's any amount of hours that we deem. I told her it's around 20 or less.
Yeah, and my thought was, if we decide to go that route, we give discretion
Give or take, probably more now.
for our treasurer, Scott, to determine how many hours might be needed for the bookkeeping
Yeah.
in the interim basis.
It did the ad that you put out, I'll call it an ad. Did it say BSNA required?
It did.
It did.
There's-
I'm just curious.
I was gonna say, she's probably our top resume out of all the ones that we've gotten so far.
It's just so different than regular bookkeeping.
Right.
That's my concern, and again, I'd like to look at the resume and have a
Yeah,
look.
but Ashley is correct. We've got, I think, 3 or 4 additional potential candidates that we can.
And they're still not municipal or.
Yeah, but none of them have any BSNA or.
Can I, is it
Yeah.
okay that I'm jumping in here?
Go for it.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Because Ashley and I have spoken about this a little bit, because I know that we're trying to do this inexpensively, and so she's using Indeed, which is fine. I talked to the treasurer over at the township, because they just finished hiring an assistant treasurer. And apparently, if we do pay a little bit of money, you can key in more keywords such as BSNA, and it's probably worth it
Okay.
to see what else is out there. And I don't know what that cost is.
I was gonna say, I think it was $79 a month, but I don't.
I think it's
yeah.
probably for what we're trying to do here.
Right.
And I don't mean to.
No, you're good.
I appreciate that we have somebody
Yeah.
here right now. I think the question is the BSA experience and
Right.
being able to just pick that up. It's not as easy as you think. Just because it's a different way of accounting, governmental accounting. They made it, due tos and due froms, and it's just a whole different level of accounting. And I think they just put in place to keep jobs 30% people.
Right.
That was I think we should look just a little bit more, and that's not to say that we're not gonna hire who we have here tonight.
Right. Yeah.
But I think it'd be beneficial to let's just see what else is there, because of the BSA side of things.
I'll ask Thomas too, because he's gonna be the payer in a
So
sense.
Scott, how urgently do we need to get caught up on the bookkeeping stuff?
I haven't gotten that far yet. I ran some reports, and I know that everybody recognizes that we need an audit, but that we're because our end of year is just in another month and a half, our end of fiscal year is in another month and a half, that we're just waiting for that. I'm kind of torn on that both ways of, okay, but if we wait another month and a half, we might be missing something that really was illegal versus just I don't know. We don't know what we don't know, and that's my problem. For everybody here that's been wondering, as of right now, no money is missing. It's just that more money's been put into roads than what I think was expected, and so that's what's happening here. It's not like the money was misappropriated. It's just that we put a lot of money into roads, and I think it was more than the board probably. If they had seen how it was all going down, I'm not sure that they would have agreed to it. And that's why we don't have any money currently. It's because we sunk more money into roads than we thought.
I remember specifically asking, do we have that kind of money?
Yeah.
And was told, absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's what we were told.
Well, yeah, you had it, but then you don't have anybody to pay
just
for it.
can't be on bills.
Yeah.
Once
Okay.
again, it's hard when you raise a question in a direct
You don't
way,
get the full
and it's a
answer.
different
Yeah.
answer than.
Because, so anyways, getting back to that audit, I see both sides to it, but that's really a board decision of, do we want to have it done now and get things correct? Because, the auditor doesn't necessarily make it correct. He just can point out
Shows you
everything
where
that's
it
wrong.
needs to be, yeah.
Checking for
We
error.
had this woman here that would be more than able to make things correct, and I don't know what her rate was, and I don't know how she got along with Matt. That could be another option too, that she could be the person that trains whoever the new bookkeeper is, because it might be hard to find a bookkeeper with BSA
Yeah.
experience. It's just,
Yeah.
it's a real limited pool of resources there.
Well,
But we
that's-
can at least try.
That's why when we were realizing resumes we were getting, it seems like nobody really had the BSNA
Right.
background. The contract place said they could provide us somebody with BSNA. I thought, well, at least that would give us an option if we have an urgent need to get some bookkeeping done, get caught up, to bring them in to get
Yeah.
caught up
Right.
while we continue to look. So.
Okay, great. I'm going to recommend that we table the bookkeeping, hiring for the bookkeeping position for a period not to exceed the next 2 weeks or our next meeting. And that a decision be made when we meet next, which we do believe is in a couple of weeks. And this is just going to, I'm going to recommend it just be on hold until then.
Okay.
And give us a chance to either look at other options or at least look into this one. And that would be a good idea. So that's a motion. And I'd like some support for it.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported, and it's just going to be tabled until the next one. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That's,
Can I make a comment?
yeah.
I do want to comment that, seeing as you were having a rough time, people getting BSNA, that I thank you, Carrie, for being
Yes.
very open to saying, I need to
Absolutely.
learn and I'm willing to learn. So not everyone wants to jump in at something they've done forever and do well and say, oh, but I'm willing to learn a whole new thing.
Right.
So I appreciate you being open to that.
Better be honest.
Thank you again
We
for
would
coming out.
prefer that.
Boy.
Thank you for coming out.
Okay, next is originally A, and that's the posting of the vacant planning commission position. Again, mentioned Bob MacArthur's here, and Thomas did some research for me the last few days, and we're apparently under some a bit of a gun to fill this appointment? Or what do you say?
Well, we originally had 7.
Yeah?
We're down to 4. And my guess is we're gonna lose one tonight. So the,
Oh, there.
well, at least I'm hoping so. The, I have an app, somebody that is going to apply, going to come to our next meeting just to review it. But yes, posting it, but it's been posted for an awful long time, several times, but it doesn't hurt again to get it posted. But I think a word of mouth is where we're getting anybody to come in. We're up, should be up to 7, and we're down to 4, which I'm guessing will be down to 3, which we can function. We have done a couple of big projects with the 3 or 4 of us. It isn't that, but it's more appropriate to have more insight and opinions of some of these different projects. So I think posting would be a wise idea, and then we'll just keep hunting in the community for some people that are interested.
Mhm.
Right?
Well, thank you for that, and we'll put the word out as best we can. We need people for the planning commission.
Actually, we usually have one member of council
Yeah.
on
Well,
planning.
and that was Melanie, and now it's not.
Yeah, and so
Are you
maybe we
volunteering?
need to think about, do we need to, somebody on council to
That would be,
go on the.
that would be most beneficial, I think.
Because we always
Bob,
have
when's your
one
next
council.
meeting?
The first Monday.
So next week?
Yep, next week, Monday. That's 6 o'clock.
4th.
Okay,
May 4th is our next meeting.
okay, then,
And is that what, 7:30 in the morning?
No, Personnel Commission will be.
PM,
trade.
not AM.
Is there anybody on the board that would be willing to do that?
I'll trade Personnel Committee for it.
no, no.
It's a good try.
I mean, I've been going just to see what's going on, but I feel like that's not my expertise.
You love having you here. You
What?
love having you at the meetings.
Yeah. I will continue to attend.
Okay, these probably could have been the same item, but it's posting the vacant trustee position, of which
Yeah.
Melanie Nivell has resigned from this council, and that leaves us with 6 members, and we should and can and should be at 7. So any members in the community that you know, any friends, relatives, even enemies, have them give the village a call. And yes, sir.
I'm willing to put my,
Hat in the ring.
yes,
Oh my God, that's
For trustee?
yes.
Well,
if you don't mind, will you get a chance in the next couple of days to come into the office and fill out an app?
Okay, well, I was already a trustee once before, do I have to fill out an app again?
Yeah.
It was not for 4
And
years.
address us.
probably.
Okay.
I just had to do a resume, so
You just what?
had to do a resume.
Yeah, I had to do that as well.
But I was on council for
Yeah.
4 years prior,
Yeah.
so.
I would just say the formality part of it, I don't really care if it's on a bubblegum card.
Well, wait a
but-
minute, when I was off and then I got back on, I had to do all that too, so. I just think, you know, if that, and we're still doing that, so we
I
probably
think as
should.
long as we are tabling the other one for the period of 2 weeks, we can do the exact same thing and expect a phone call before the next meeting that, you're the only applicant, as far as I know. So your chances are every bit of 50-50.
Pete this week, right, is that okay?
Perfect.
Right, you guys coordinate that, and Pete can get with us and say, hey, this is where we're at now, and this is a good direction to move forward.
Could we ask him if he wants to come up here and tell us why you want to do this?
Would you bring home? He only has too many questions, he might change his mind.
We begged him.
And
He might not.
Where you are, where you live?
My name is Mark Robinson. I live at 132 Mill Street. I was a village council trustee for about 4 years before. I've been off of it for about 5 years. And I've been approached by multiple neighbors and people I know, former council people, so yeah, I've had a lot of people approach me to ask me to jump back in. I care about this community. I want to see it recover from whatever it's going through right now. So, we need to get it moving back in the right direction. So that's why I'm willing to step up.
Thank you.
Your motivation is right on. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So again, the council's gonna have some answers within 2 weeks, but because a lot of this stuff we're hearing for the very first time, you know, within 10 minutes, it's always better to just, you know, kick it around, mill it around, do our own little bit of research, and I'm sure we'll all come to the same conclusion. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. Item
This is my B1.
B1, which is the approval of
I'd like to, I don't know how you do it.
adopt a,
I'd like to
Personnel.
make a motion to appoint Alex Walker
Second.
to the Personnel Committee.
Welcome. Second.
Support.
right from the fire to the frying pan. Oh,
I supported it.
it was supported, and is there further discussion on an additional member to the Personnel Committee? We
I
could-
just want to say that is in our
Bylaws.
that we must have that extra person, and we were unable to fill that in, so I just wanted to get that up to snuff of where it's supposed to be.
Okay, sounds good. Next up is appointment, well,
Do we gotta, we have.
yeah, we gotta
motion,
vote.
we didn't on it.
we have a motion to vote on Alex being appointed. Because it's a committee thing, I would do a roll call.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Well, yes, that's fine.
Brooks,
Yes.
Mold,
Definitely.
Faulkner,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes. Okay, the Personnel Committee's filled. There's another committee opening that's open right now, and it's our next item, and it's the President Pro Tem. Now, it was Melanie Nivelt until last week. Nonetheless, in years past, when I was the president, that was under the direction of the council president. It was an appointment that me or any president could have made. During the previous administration, I think it would have been previous to me. Who was it?
Dr. Bryce?
Yes, Tanya, that's it.
Tanya.
When Tanya was the president, the minutes or the rules and regulations of the village changed from an appointment by the president to it had to be approved by the full board. So it basically is now one of these things where we make a nominee, we vote on it, and then we appoint a president pro tem for at least the rest of this calendar year or until we pick committees again. So we have to fill this position. It's quite an important position. And with that being said, I'll open up for nominations, and I would like to start off by nominating Kay Green.
Support.
I nominate Linda.
What's that?
I nominate Linda.
Well, we got to kind
Second
of.
that nomination.
What's Linda?
Linda.
Oh, you can. That's fine. We can have all 7 of us can run. So.
Well, you can't.
Yeah, I can't. No,
And there's not 7 of us on the board.
True enough. And Linda's a good choice as well. Kay got my selection just based on the seniority part of her years of experience on the council, I think is pretty valuable. And Linda, of course, has jumped in with both feet, so I don't think there's a wrong choice here at all. It is just a matter of us selecting. So we'll just take, well, we'll do one motion at a time. I nominated Kay Green. It did not get a support yet.
Alex did.
Alex did, yes, okay. Moved and supported, and I would like a roll call vote on Kay Green for President Pro Tem of the Village Council.
Brooks,
No.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
No.
Faulkner,
Yes.
Mold,
No.
Quisenberry.
Yes. Somebody better be good at math here.
Majority, so.
Say again?
It failed to get a majority.
Yes, if it's 3-3, it fails. Okay, there was another motion, and Larry
Another
made,
nomination.
and was that one supported yet?
I think
I
Ashley made a
nominated.
motion and I.
Oh, okay. So, moved by Ashley, supported by Larry, that Linda Brooks be named the President Pro Tem of this council. Is there further discussion on Linda Brooks?
I think,
If not, I would just have another roll call vote.
Mold,
Yes.
Faulkner,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes. That motion passed, and
Thank you,
we
everyone.
we now have a new president pro tem. If my chair leg breaks and I fall down, you can just slide one over. And,
Do I have to sit next to you every week then?
well, it's easier, I can tell you that, instead of us trying to holler across the room. That's never a good look. We do have some special events. They look pretty routine to me in the fact that we've had them years and years in the past, and they seem to run themselves, although it does take a lot of hard work in the background to make these events come off, but they do always seem to flawlessly. The first one is the Memorial Day Parade, probably one of my favorite events besides Halloween that we do in this town, and that's the Memorial Day Parade at usually 9:30, I think, is the start time, but the band comes, it's either 9:30 or 10, but the start time will be published in Citizen, I'm sure of that.
Not to mention the Boy Scouts who watch the flags overnight in the cemetery.
Oh my God! I mean, that's if you're not a proud American on Memorial Day, then I don't know what to tell you.
I make a motion to approve the Memorial Day Parade permit as presented.
Support?
Those in
Discussion. The only thing I wanted to comment on is that for whatever reason, the paperwork did not have the receive date. We did receive that from Thomas. This was received on 3/30/26. So I would like to amend that is included on the actual form.
Okay.
Minor thing.
Moved and supported with a change, and with that in mind, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that passes. That parade permit passes.
There's my paperwork.
And the next one was the farmer's market, and that's been again a yearly event. It's a big, huge hit all through the summer and fall months, and it brings a lot of people into the village of Ortonville. And that is one of those things that requires a lot of hard work by the DDA. A lot of volunteers, a lot of farmers, and a lot of people that really, really enjoy that event. And luckily, none of these, the farmer's market thing is, again, ongoing. I find it to be extremely useful to this village.
I make a motion that we approve the farmer's market.
Support?
Can I ask you a question on that? Where's the location for the farmer's market?
It's all over. I mean, they kind of set up over here in downtown, and yeah, they get those little, they got those little booths all over the place. It seems like this corner seems to get the most amount of traffic.
Here to here.
Yeah, but as you get down to, past the pub and past the bank, then it starts to thin out a little bit.
You can't miss the
No, you
traffic
can't.
down.
Well, no.
Park.
If you had to ask for directions, then you probably aren't in the right spot.
Corner of Southernville usually has 4 vendors. This has 11 or 12 vendors, and then there's about 15 to 20 vendors between here and the downtown.
Yep. Very well attended.
And again, could we add the date received as 3/23/26 on the paperwork? I don't know why.
I make a motion to approve the Fridays events, First Fridays.
Oh, do we
No,
vote
we
on
didn't
it?
get there yet.
Oh, I thought we were.
Well, we got to vote on the
We need to
farmer's.
vote on the farmer's market.
No, that was Memorial Day.
Oh, that's fine.
All those in favor of
Is there any other?
there was a motion for the farmer's market in support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Now, Kay, we can jump to First Fridays.
The first Friday is, the 2 Fridays, one is June 5th and one is August 7th, the start of summer and the first week of August. They're going to have food trucks and an event to celebrate at each of them, so I make a motion that we approve this Friday, First Fridays, it's called.
Support.
Is there further discussion on First Friday?
Add 3/23/26 to those two as well,
There you
please.
go.
Just want the paperwork to reflect when they were turned in.
Moved and supported. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that motion passes as well. It leads us to a BS&A administrative access for the village clerk. It will obviously be a big help when we're talking about our bookkeeping issues that we have, as well as our accounting issues that we that we get our clerk some training in BSNA as well. So if nothing else, it can be a backup, and I'm sure there's plenty of work to keep people busy.
He was worried. I think the reason this is on the agenda, he wanted to get special board approval to make sure that the right people had login access to BSNA. And it's probably not necessary, but I understand why he wants to do that, and I agree with it. So if the board
and I'll say this about Thomas, he's pretty articulate about those things.
Right.
So
He's doing right.
I don't begrudge him one tiny bit for wanting the board to approve it, just for his backing.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I kind of thought this was a no-brainer, but it's on the
It is.
it's on our agenda, and we're going to address it. And if then someone has a motion, I'll.
And it's very refreshing. I'd much rather have things come to the board that maybe we didn't need to approve, because just to make sure, rather than the other way around.
And I love the paperwork that he does for each and everything. I'm telling you, we've been in that in a long time, and it just made this so much
I just
easier.
get so much communication from him, and it's not too much. It's just this is a time in our history when we need to get everything together.
I'd like to make a motion that we give the clerk, Thomas Ryan, access to BSNA admin.
Support.
Moved and supported. Further discussion on the BSNA for the village clerk. There isn't any, so all those in favor say aye.
Do you think we should do a roll call vote?
We're just giving them access.
Well, actually, you're giving him access to give access as well, because the admin can then actually add Pete and add, you have to have somebody
I'm
that's
just
taking
thinking
that
it does
role.
relate to our council.
Okay.
So he's the right person to do it. He's the right person.
And as the acting village manager who oversees Thomas,
That's right.
he of course should know everything Thomas knows and then some. That was a joke, Pete.
We all signed that already, so I think we can just do it in voice vote.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I didn't think there was going to be a no vote in that. Next up is village operating loan. This is maybe where some people might want to pay attention. Since terminating the village manager, I've had to go down to our two financial institutions and have the village manager removed from our banking system, because once he's terminated, he's not allowed to go there and make any transfers or deposits or withdrawals. So when I was at both of those banks, oddly enough, Oxford Bank said, well, your manager was here a few months ago, and he applied for a line of credit. And at our last meeting, when the village manager spoke, I think from this podium, or at the end of the table, he told every one of us that it was a common practice, that the village has borrowed money many, many times in the past, that this revolving line of credit was necessary for us to remain afloat for the rest of the calendar year. Every person at this table said, that's why we have a fund balance. That's why we have a rainy day fund. That's why we have money in here. We don't need to go out and borrow money, especially when we don't even know where our money is right now. So, and we're just finding this out, so these aren't things we've known for a year. But nonetheless, the village manager, unbeknownst to us, applied for a loan. When I went in, and after speaking with Pete and Scott, decided, well, even though he deceived us, we still may need a loan. So when I was in the Oxford Bank, I inquired about, well, now we're still going to be in some dire straits financially. Maybe we will pursue a loan, not his loan and not his plan, but we will pursue a loan to cover our bases in the meantime. And after speaking with Scott and Pete, it was decided that was a really good idea. If nothing else, it's a safety net if we don't figure something out sooner. But with all the banking systems, you got to apply. It's like getting a home mortgage. You got to apply ahead of time. It takes a little while. There's some things that get done. Oxford Bank does have a municipal branch that does loans to places like ours. I was just shocked to learn from the bank last week that somebody had taken it upon themselves to do that on this board's behalf.
Without our knowledge.
Without our behalf, without our knowledge. That, to me, might even fit into what somebody had mentioned earlier about, well, I won't even say this, but nonetheless, that's what we're in the process of now.
So so we're putting it all out on the table. I considered how I want to talk in front of the cameras and be fair, but everyone needs to know, as of right now, we can't make payroll in a few days. That's how short we are in cash. So if this loan doesn't come through, payroll is going to be decided by whoever feels is the most worthy of getting what's left. I mean, I don't know how they're going to pick that.
Scott, I'm going to cut in, but then I'm going to throw it right back to you, okay?
Okay.
Here's my next comment, because I want the board to hear this as well. While I was at the banks, our current balance, this minute, penny for penny, in Oxford Bank is $15,490. At least that's what it was at 3 o'clock today. We also have an account at the credit union. That balance, as of a couple hours ago, was, I misspoke. The balance at Oxford Bank is $10,778.95. The balance at Michigan Credit Union is $4,712. If you combined all of the village's assets, it would come up to that $15,490. So we have $15,490 to our name in terms of cash on hand. And as you mentioned, it can't even make payroll.
Right. And I suspect that money that's sitting at MSU, I suspect that that's Friends of Amos money. I can't figure out why else they would have this one bank account. And that sounds like it's pretty close to the balance of what's in the Friends of Amos account, which they'll be using for Witches Night Out.
Scott, you might be right. And the only thing I remember is that at one point in my previous presidency is that was one of the ones we used for one of those long-term certificates of deposit, meaning, okay, so that it's not your daily go-to account, but it is where you get some extra money, you can put it in and get higher interest. And that's where I believe that money is, but I could be wrong about that too. Friends of Amos, I think, with the DDA and that organization, might know more about that.
Okay.
But I also know that they're a C3PO. That's a yeah. Okay. Some numbers or some letters.
Can I make one comment?
You may, Dan.
My experience with budget reviews and budget allocations, and you review each line item under each section. Once those are approved, it's a no-no to move any money from one bucket to another under the budget. And if somebody's got to move money from one area, one line item to another line to support another line item, it should have been brought to council for approval. And it seems to me that maybe, trustee, a comment about, do we have that money? Maybe the question was, do we have that money under that line item that's approved for votes?
Well, Dan, we do change money. We do change money in accounts, because if we got to buy a DPW truck and it only has 70 grand in it, and with the truck's 80, we can and will take 10 grand from an account that's unused or maybe has a surplus and buy the truck. We just do that all the time. But we do it with the village managers now.
Now without approval.
Well, it gets approved. It just doesn't get approved. It doesn't get approved the day they're out truck shopping. That's all. But it does come to the board. We have to title it. We have to insure it. We have to do all those things. So it's not like he could buy a truck under our nose and we never know.
Yeah, and Dan, you might remember when you were on the council, we would get the reports that would say, okay, here's the budget for the year, here's how much has been spent already, and here's how much is remaining in it. That's the revenue and expenditure report. We were getting those, and that's what surprised me, because in our March meeting, we got the one from February, and it showed that we still had significant amounts of money, much more than $15,000. So how we could have had $80,000 to $100,000 just disappear in a month, I don't know how that could have happened, unless those numbers were that we were getting were not accurate. And I feel that was the case. I can't trust the information that we've been getting.
BSNA is not updated properly, and so you're going to get bad numbers when you just run.
Yeah, well, we didn't know that.
We did not know that. We were getting what we got. We assumed that, okay, this looks okay, and then we find out that, that's not right. It's
for what should have happened. There would have had what Dan's referring to as it's what you call budget amendments.
Yes.
And I mentioned that as the proposed, amended, and then final.
Here, when we say, okay, we have extra here, we went over there, and then we make the
adjustments. And I believe money was moved without the proper board voting on budget amendments. I I don't know for sure.
I was
gonna say,
Because I don't know
shows
if you
moved
see,
in the amendment.
but I suspect that's what's happening. It's not the end of the world, but it's making things very difficult right now.
Question. We're new to all of this, so we wanted to be here to get to know things and stuff. It sounds like it's been a really big learning curve for everyone and a valuable lesson process. But what are the protocols that you're establishing so that you won't have to be concerned about this happening again?
It's an interesting question. It's probably way too long of an answer, but I can start out this way. In 15 years, we probably had 7 or 8 different village managers. So they typically come and leave somewhat rapidly. Some do a good job, and some do a great job and move on to bigger and better things, P-Dog for sure, and others. Others don't do so well of a job, and they just move on. In this particular case, the hoodwinking that had occurred is mind-boggling. And I've talked many times at this table that we don't even know, I don't even know half of it, but I'm sure we're all going to find out. But what I do know is very troubling, very. And it's just, I feel so cheated by how this village manager chose to keep secret things that this council should know. Because when he was hired, everybody on this board supported him, and still did for a while, because he came in with some good ideas and some good thought process, and he spoke well, and so he seemed like he had the tools, but that didn't turn out to be the case, and it was a learning curve on our part to pick these things up little by little. It's not like we found this out in a groundswell. It was like 1 month there'd be this thing, then we'd go a month or two and everything would be fine, then there'd be another thing that popped up. And somebody here mentioned our audit. Our audit was a disgrace. The man that came here and spoke to us, he turned the light on that, and it was actually already turned on because, as Beth mentioned earlier, they were doing audits for a week or two. When you go in, you sit down with the auditor, you go over the books. Now this was the actual auditor that came to our meeting, and he spoke at great length of the troubles. And if you could read between the lines, because he's sitting here in front of him and the treasurer, and he's not going to just slam everybody about our audit, but it was easy for us to tell this had some serious problems to it. And when you read the review sheet that they give us, it just points one thing after another. And maybe any one of them are explainable, but when you get them like that, boy, is there a path. And it's not a good one.
Yeah. So I understand that you were blindsided very clearly.
Not blindsided, we just learned little by little.
Blindsided that you were just deceived.
Yeah.
You were given information wasn't accurate.
We were deceived.
The audit was delayed months before we finally had
We
it
only got
presented
that.
to us, because, what was that? Was that also in the March meeting, or was that in the April meeting?
The auditor's letter came addressed to me and the village council on December the 16th. I received it from the village manager on, I think, February 10th. That's 2 months that it was sitting around in his file.
So we
my
didn't
question,
even
to be
see
clear,
that
is not-
actual audit until like February, March timeframe.
My question, to be clear, is not any accusations at all. It's purely, okay, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, sounds like you could go through half the alphabet of situations that occurred. What are we going to establish as checks and balances? So if we, by error or whatever happens, by perfection on another level, what are we going to do so if another manager comes in, it doesn't happen again?
Well,
That's my question.
we're gonna know what our balance is in the accounts, we're gonna know how much we spent each month, and we're gonna know how much money we have left.
I think we need to get back and return.
Dan, I can't take any more questions. I'm sorry.
I will say,
I'm just going to make a quick comment. I mean, to his point, preventing from happening again. You had good reviews on his performance all the way to the end of the year. To me, you got to look at those performance reviews. What are you performing him against?
We
What
didn't,
criteria?
they were not.
Dan, that's not true.
Respect to that.
His performance review was last May, a year ago. Everything that I've mentioned to you has occurred since then. So these are recent, and I say recent, within the past 8 to 10 months of these things occurring. Prior to that, and I will say in his honeymoon period, he did perform adequately and did deserve fair marks. I think most people gave him a 3 out of 5 on a lot of categories. But that's not gonna be the way to solve problems like this is, oh, your performance review is good, well, then you're doing a
It's a
great
start,
job.
though. It's an
It's a
indicator.
start.
You gotta start somewhere.
And we did start. We started last May, and we did one. And he came out he probably came out at about a 7.5 with scores total. Since last May, that 7.5 has gone down to about a -4. And that's the time of period that, you know, if we were there minute by minute and saw, you know, all these things cumulatively, it would have made the board's decision way easier, or at least way quicker. And we could move past this. And as a result, and because of the deception, that's what he was able to prolong. And we all have heard the stories about somebody who, you know, hides things, and they do that for who knows the reasons. Sometimes it's a good one, but not in this case. I got so hoodwinked and buffaloed by the things I would go in and talk to him about, and he would tell me, and I would have every reason to believe. And you know, the funny thing about a good lie is 70% of it's true. It's just that 30% that they don't tell you where the deception comes in, and that's the thing that, you know, we got to watch out for, and we have to do that. We all have to do it.
Ken, if I could also add one point, I think in order to try to address this, I will say this: I've been on council on and off since I first moved into the community back in the 90s, and my latest stint started in 2018. And I would say what we need to do is get back to having the regular, accurate treasury reports and disbursement reports that we had been getting prior to that point. Because there was a period when we just weren't getting any reports, and then apparently the ones when we did start getting them again were not accurate. And that's what's gotten this situation. And part of that is because we didn't have redundancy in the positions. Well, now we're working to correct that by having a village manager and a separate treasurer, and we already have the clerk, and we will also be bringing somebody to do the bookkeeping, and that gives more eyes on the process to ensure that there's going to be accuracy. We did not have that when one person was filling the village manager and the treasurer roles. And believe me, for months, we were saying, you need to get a treasurer, we need to get a treasurer, and the village manager dragged his feet with responding to council. We were giving him direction to do that, and he just did not do it. And then that's partly what finally got to the point where we said, look, something has to change. And we put him on probation, and then after the probationary period, we said, no, this is just not working out.
Thank you.
Can I add to, Thomas did recommend a finance committee, even though another committee.
He did.
But that could be an option as well, first having council members double check.
No, that's always a good idea. I mean, maybe we could have done it some of our committees, but when we only have, 6 members now, but we have 6 members and 12 committees, you know, the math doesn't work out.
It's not for.
Well, that's 2 committees per member.
Yeah, we all have that kind of time. We all have that kind of free time in the day.
No, I mean, I did see that recommendation as well, and I started to think too, like, who would be on that committee, but I feel like all of us have been doing a better job of trying to get to these numbers and trying to understand them, and
First we have to do that, yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting, some financial reports that are coming from the system and that have more meaning and understanding to them.
And once we get to that point, which it's probably gonna be a little while, but I think we'll spend one meeting, explaining to you, because you get these reports, and I understand, I sat on boards, people are sometimes afraid to say, I don't understand what this means. Yeah. And I'll be happy to just go through it all so you'll understand it.
And I will say that I was one of the people that would go in with my packet and sit down with the manager and say, explain this to me. And, there's always an explanation, but, we did question at times, and still here we are.
I also want to say I appreciate your position. Being the first time I've met you, I'm Rex Bauer anyway, but I appreciate all of your effort and the genuineness through which you appear to be coming from. This is great.
Well, we appreciate that.
So we only have $15,000. We're not going to make payroll. We brought up a motion or a comment of possibly needing to take out a loan.
Well, I did get some news today, and it's not great news, but it helps us at the very moment. We did have a check or two come in today they're gonna get deposited, and that will probably, well, not probably, it will allow us to make payroll on this paycheck. So the payroll issue is got a temporary Band-Aid on it. That doesn't mean the underlying problems are gone. It just means we're making a deposit to cover some checks that we're gonna write next week. And that we can do. So it's not a panic situation as far as this payroll comes up, but it's going to be very, very soon.
This loan that we are possibly looking at, would that be where we wouldn't be charging the APR until we pull the funds? So like we'll be separated into a different bank account, and then as we pull it as we need it, and then things like that? Is that what we're looking at?
Funny you say that. I received an email today, and it was from Oxford Bank, and they got a hold of their corporate branch, who sent me this email with the details of the loan that the guy who didn't tell us he got a loan actually got, and it does have all the terms listed in it. And there is a percentage rate, and there is all the fees that go with it. And I think I can get everybody the letter, and I only got it today, so excuse me for that. But I gotta believe it was 8-9%. And I do remember the clause about the early payback, and you can save the interest. But those are standard banking terms, and again, I'll get this over to the office tomorrow. I'll give it to Pete so he can do it. And yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Again, I wanted to bring up the payroll taxes. You're struggling to meet payroll. We're talking about loans. We're talking about interim money coming in, which is not going to substantiate regular operating costs, because your payroll are your operating costs. Taking a loan just kind of, my concern will still be the payroll taxes. You're meeting payroll. What about those payroll taxes that will continue to accrue penalty and interest, not to mention the liability that is laying on the council and the city?
And
that was the bills, and that's at the top.
And again, that was mentioned, and it didn't go unnoted earlier. So
And I believe that there's indications that we can catch up to next year's budget as long as we cut out and cut back so we can get our fund balance built back up, get whatever short-term loan we need now paid off. I think we can do that in the next fiscal budget, but we do have to strip down a lot, particularly probably.
You do what it takes to get where you need to be.
Yes.
Okay, and sometimes that's what it requires.
And if we need to pay some interest on a short-term loan so we don't get in arrears on anything like payroll taxes or payroll or any other bills that would come, that's what we have to do. And then we gotta get ourselves out of the hole so we don't have to pay interest anymore. But,
No.
would you like to make a motion to authorize you to take out a loan?
Yes, but I wouldn't get a loan until it comes here in 2 weeks. So in other words, I can't just go and sign for a loan and walk out of the bank with a barrel full of cash. If they're gonna loan us money, it's gonna require more than... It's gonna take more than... Luckily, it's gonna take more than just me. Now, if it's me and Pete, if it's me and Scott, or if it's me and any one of the board members, that's who's going to be the people that are gonna access this loan. And it will certainly require my signature, but it's gonna require more than mine. So I can't secure it on my own.
Can I make a motion that we secure a loan with a line of credit with Oxford Bank immediately, as soon as possible, in order to cover?
I'm going to speak with them tomorrow, and I'm going to try to get this on the fast track. But I got to tell you, they might not give us a nickel more than what Matt applied for. They might not, and they're the deciders. They don't just.
Well, I think we need to pursue it immediately.
Yeah.
I did today. I mean, I
want to be able to sign something and get us money.
Okay, I cannot sign it by myself. I will not sign it by myself, period.
But that's what I said. I'd like to say that you have the support of the council to take out a loan.
That is really helpful, but with the assistance of Peter Scott.
That's fine.
Or someone else on this board who wants to be, on that process as well is fine with me.
I'd like to make a motion that we pursue securing a line of credit as soon as possible.
Up to $300,000.
Up to $300,000 is recommended, with the appropriate signatures of treasurer, interim manager, and president of council.
Support.
Moved and supported. Further discussions on attaining a line of credit.
Who supported that?
Larry.
Give it to Ashley.
She only did 2 today, so she
I-
needs
I-
3.
I-
What are we gonna,
I'm
what are we gonna
concerned-
do if they won't give us any more money than maybe
Well,
the 50,000? What do we do
Up
then?
to, then we take what we can get, I guess. I mean, I just feel like we need to move forward with taking care of the back payroll taxes, the bills that are outstanding. I mean, all those things need to be taken care of. I don't want to wait another 2 weeks. I feel like we've been in this process of just covering payroll for the last
Several
3 or 4
months.
payrolls. And it's got to stop. We just
They have a
can't do this.
municipal branch, you said? that-
They have a headquarters and they have a division that does municipal things. And that's the girl named Kathy and a
I
girl
just
named
want you to
Tracy.
know, Ken, you have our support, that we know this
That
is
I
necessary
know,
and it
'cause
needs
we
to be
all need
done.
the money.
And
We
take
all
the-
need it.
Take the guys with you that make it happen.
We'll make a road trip and we'll head to Oxford Bank.
Yeah, but something has to be done, because
Yeah.
you have bills that have to be paid.
Yeah.
We understand.
And I don't know if, for instance, what Kay said, if they say no, I don't know what, I know the next step would be call the attorney immediately
Yeah.
and let him know where we're at.
Yeah, no, that's the only next step. But we can explore this one first and possibly get ourselves through. That's our hope.
I have
You know,
seen
we're-
that there are state programs for taking out credits and things like that, but I think that's a longer process and we need something more immediate. But that if we don't get enough, we could also pursue some other.
Those government ones tend to be
institutions.
where they get their finger in the pie and then you're sorry you ever let
Yeah,
the government
I don't
run
wanna
it for
have
you.
to do that, but there are some options if we have to consider that.
Well, but then it was discussed and now we'll do a roll call vote. And the motion was for up to 300,000. I believe, right?
Brooks,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Faulkner,
Yes.
Mold,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes. Okay, that motion carries and I will begin efforts to secure some funds for the village.
Thank you.
Next is the most important item on this agenda. It's the appointment of an interim village manager. I got the pleasure to introduce Pete earlier. I did leave off a couple things on your very impressive resume. One was that you were on the planning commission, right?
Yes.
Prior to becoming the ordinance officer. And that not only were you in the sheriff's department, but you were the commander at the Brandon substation for I can't count how many years.
Yes.
So those are things I'd just like the other council members to know. And it's my recommendation that you be appointed immediately as interim village manager.
Support.
Roll call vote.
I don't get to say our nice things in discussion.
Oh, well, I kind of laid it on pretty good.
I want to make some comments and say how, again, I am impressed with how Pete has stepped up and put his time in at the office to make sure we run smoothly. I think that the fact that Pete is lives in the village is also another thing. He's been in the village for a very long time, knows Ortonville, is a part of Ortonville, and I think this is and it also comes recommended by our clerk, which I think is enough for me to think this is a very positive move.
Okay, was there a motion first? I think
Yeah, we did.
already did the motion, already did the
I think
support.
I think
Let's do the roll call vote because it is because it's an appointment as a village employee.
Mold,
Yes.
Faulkner,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes. Pete, I was going to try to make it not unanimous, but I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it.
Well, thank you, I'm honored.
We'll all be in to see you from time to time, I'm certain of it. That,
Have a 90 day.
Yeah, we have one more.
Oh, yeah. One more. 90 days.
90-day clerk.
okay, we have an added item. It was a 90-day review for the clerk.
Yes.
Thomas. And in my opinion, he succeeded in his 90-day review.
Over and, are you ready, or?
Yeah, I'll say something. I think that Thomas has been doing a really good job. I was really impressed with all the memos he presented about the topics, that they were all on point and they were all things that we definitely needed to discuss and address. And I think he's been doing a good job. It seems he's working well together with our interim village manager, and I think that we definitely say he did a good job, and I think we need to review and consider what sort of wage adjustment would be appropriate at post 90-day review. So what we have discussed on Personnel Committee is and Alex, you're part of this now too, is the Personnel Committee is going to meet with our village manager, and we're going to review his current wages and kind of look out and review what's basically kind of standard out on the market, and try to make a recommendation at the next council meeting where to set Thomas's new wages to be, to show our appreciation for his work.
Okay.
Okay, we already voted him in. It was unanimous, and Larry made some additional comments. It leads us to number 11.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Support.